Premier, thank you so much for making time to speak to us. Yesterday you spoke a lot about the successes that your administration has achieved over the past 5 years, but take us through some of the challenges that you've experienced in achieving this.
Thank you very much, Lubabalo, for the opportunity. Yes, we were looking in the State of the Province address at what we have done over the whole 5 years. And just to summarize, I think we have done very well on education. Gauteng is now the top province, the #1 province with regard to grade 12 results. Grade 12 is a very important stepping stone for our young people in the country. We also have done significantly well. We have taken 500,000 young people, retrained them into skills that have enabled a lot of them to either set up their own businesses or have gained access into the labor market. We have also revitalized quite significantly the township economy. Fourthly, we have been able to achieve substantial improvements in the way our province is governed in terms of clean governance. And lastly, we have created 469,000 jobs in the economy through a lot of work, sector focused, with industry leaders. So that's our story. It is very difficult to dispute this story that over the past 5 years, the province has really been on the move.
Premier, what are some of the challenges that you have experienced during this time?
Certainly, Gauteng is a complex province. I said that in the State of the Province address. The first major challenge is that everybody wants to be in Gauteng. So the population, just in over 25 years, the population has doubled. What does this do? So in-migration and the high rate of urbanization put lots of pressure on our healthcare system, on our education system, on our housing delivery program. So, for example, we have built 1.2 million houses, but the backlog still stands at 1 million. So, rapid urbanization and in-migration is a big pressure for everything we are doing. The other important area of challenge is that these numbers mean something also, that you create jobs, but there are many more people who are looking for work, who have moved from different parts of the country, including different parts of the continent, because we are a magnet. We are not just an economic hub of South Africa. We are an industrial hub of sub-Saharan Africa. We are a magnet. So from that point of view, also these huge numbers have implications. So you have more people constantly on the lookout for work. But we have been ready for those challenges. The pressure on our system, on our healthcare, education, housing, on employment, it's something that we are ready going forward to overcome.
Some of the dissatisfactions that your oppositions in the legislature raised yesterday related mostly to the e-tolling system, which, if I was listening correctly last year in your State of the Province address, you promised to try and get to the bottom of removing e-tolls from the Gauteng roads. Take us through that.
Yes, there's two issues. So one is the ANC has taken up, as the ANC in Gauteng as a party, has taken up a campaign. And there was a big march that the ANC organized last year in November. And this week, the provincial secretary of the ANC was mandated by the PEC to write a letter to the president to say, we have marched, we have submitted a memorandum that e-toll should go. We need a response. That's what, on the one hand, is the party process. And the provincial executive has also met with the national leadership of the ANC. But in government, which is the head I also wear, we have, which is what I said in 2018, that this matter is now in the hands of the president, in the hands of national government. And the president has reassured me that amongst the issues that he's dealing with, you know, he's got, as a head of state, he's got many issues on his desk. ESCOM. There's ESCOM to keep the lights on. There's major issues of other institutions that need to be sorted out. There's the revenue service. The e-tolls is one of those issues that he is paying attention to. Of course, as the Gauteng provincial government, whatever solution is being looked at now, because we now at least the difference between last year's State of the Province address and now. Last year I said the matter is being referred. The people of our province are unhappy. But now we can say that at least we have crossed one hurdle, that there's agreement that e-tolls add to the cost of living. Urban tolling, to toll the roads with the concentric roads within a small urban ecosystem, unlike long distance tolling, is something that hugely impacts on people. You have to move from probably several trips in one small space where you work and live. In a day, you undertake several trips, not just one long distance. If you are going to Durban or Bloemfontein, you can't do 20 trips. But if you toll the urban system, a compact urban system like that, it is bound to impact on the cost of living, but also the cost of doing business. What I'm saying is that there's now agreement on that. The only thing is the remainder of the solution, part of the solution that need to be sought. And that's a national government responsibility. I'm ready as the Premier of the province. As soon as they're putting something on the table, we will engage it. But the e-tolls are not part of the plan going forward.
ESCOM, Premier, you mentioned ESCOM as part of the problems that the President is looking into.
Yes.
But now let's take a look at the fact that some of your municipalities in the province owe ESCOM a large sum of money in debt. What is being done right now to ensure that this debt is being cleared to actually reduce the problems that we face at this point in time with ESCOM?
Yes, I think one important thing, yes, is to say that the ESCOM debt, the part of it that has to do with the residential debt, in other words, where it's households that are owing, municipalities consequently owing ESCOM because households can't pay. Those issues need to be tackled. I know it's not just the Gauteng problem, it's a national problem. We've got several municipalities nationwide that are owing ESCOM as a result of the household debt. That's something that needs to be looked at because sometimes you need to acknowledge that there's only so much you can recover from households that are not doing well financially and find a solution. So a decision needs to be made about what to do with a debt that is irrecoverable so that ESCOM can move on. But I think it is a point that the issues facing ESCOM have been spelled out very well. Part of that is that it must be restructured. You've got to look at everything. The restructuring that the President has put forward is something that we fully support. Of course, there will be concerns elsewhere. The unions would say jobs shouldn't be lost. We agree with that. I certainly agree with that. But in its current form, ESCOM would not be an appropriate vehicle to move forward. It would continue to get into serious trouble. And you know, if ESCOM is in trouble, the country is in trouble. It is too big to fail. But if it goes down, it will pull everybody down. So we can't afford. And this thing of restructuring it into different business units is something we should have done some time ago as a country. To also force ESCOM to be, more competitive. ESCOM itself needs to be able to participate in the renewable energy space as ESCOM, to look into its own technology and its own modernization, and that's very, very important. But we are a big economy as Gauteng province, so a day in our economy without lights, without electricity, has a huge impact on businesses. The last week has been devastating. We are an economy preoccupied with creating jobs and inclusive growth. We can't do that without energy. And I think yesterday one of the things I was saying is that in 2014 we deposited in the province the idea that municipalities, especially the metro municipalities, have capacity for energy, and they also have a mandate. I engaged with municipalities a lot in the run-up to the 2016 elections. We developed great plans for Johannesburg. We developed great plans for Tshwane. But I was saying yesterday, some of those plans around energy expansion were stopped purely on political grounds. And that's short-sightedness, because we would be somewhere else by now. We would be pretty far.
Indeed, Premier, we've seen that some of the problems at Eskom really are because of political interference. But I want to come to those points. So would we safely say that in these remaining months until May for your administration, we could see decisive steps being taken to recover those monies that the municipalities mostly owe to the power utility?
Well, the issue about the municipalities recovering money is a function that is not my immediate focus. I think my immediate focus is a preoccupation with whether the people of our province and the economy of our province will be disrupted or not. And the attention that the national government, the team established by the president, that team's key attention is to make sure we keep the lights on. I would say that would be my major preoccupation, to keep the lights on so that more jobs are created, the economy is functioning. The number one challenge we face in this province is jobs, jobs, and jobs.
We saw municipalities in Gauteng Premier investing money in the VBS bank that has been marred by scandals.
Yes.
Take us through that.
We only have 2 municipalities in Gauteng that have invested money in VBS. That's the West Rand District Municipality and the Merafon District Municipality. I will get a report from the MEC for Treasury in our province. She told me that that report is almost ready. I was reporting in the State of the Province address that I'll get this report before the end of February. The end of February is next week. So any time from now, I will receive the report, because an investigation was instituted. And when there's a problem like this, that's what you do first. You don't shoot from the hip. Our provincial treasury instituted an investigation to find out how did this happen, who is responsible, and did any money flow between those individuals who made the decisions. And as you know how the thing that were happening with VBS, there was a lot of exchange of money. And we want to get this report and get to the bottom of it and ensure that those who have done any wrong are held accountable. So I will definitely have the report in the next few days up to in the run-up to the end of the month, which is next week. As
we wrap up, Premier, still on municipalities, can we safely say that those municipalities, remember that they suffered with not being able to pay their employees?
Yes.
Can we say that those employees will be paid? And also still on municipalities, we saw a few municipalities being placed under administration. Just touch on that as well.
Well, let's first say that I think the state of municipalities in Gauteng is an issue that I reflected on yesterday. We have some of our municipalities that are doing great work. This work is assessed independently by various agencies. Ekurhuleni, for example, is doing great work, and Midvaal and Lesedi municipality, the 3 municipalities that are really doing well in terms of meeting the needs of their residents and being well rated by their own residents. And then we've got another category of municipality that would be like in the middle. They are not doing too badly, but they are They are performing above average. They are not right at the top there, but they're doing well. And then we've got the ones at the bottom. And the ones at the bottom are the ones that are my immediate concern, where services are not going well. In some instances, they're just moving in reverse. There are red flags everywhere. So we also have instituted interventions in some of those municipalities. Tshwane is one of those municipalities that is not doing well. Mfuleni is not doing well as well. We are also looking at the future of the district municipalities, which have no revenue base. So in other words, they just have enough money to pay their employees. They can't deliver services. You don't need a government that just pays people, but it cannot do, it has no budget to do development work, because the mandate of local government is development. So in the province, we are supporting all our municipalities where they have difficulties, but the municipalities also have a very important function themselves to deliver basic services. When they can no longer deliver basic services, the Constitution requires that we intervene and we place them under either full administration or semi-administration. And come in with national government to support. That's what we are doing in Mfuleni local municipality, where we are working with national government to address the problems of sewer there, of sanitation, to rehabilitate the infrastructure there. I went to the Minister of Defense to ask that the National Defense Force capabilities around infrastructure should also be brought in. So there's been significant improvements there. Provincial government is working with the municipalities there to ensure that we're able to rehabilitate the roads. We fix those machines that are pump stations for sewer so that they work and the sewer is not pumped into the river. But we also fix the potholes and deal with refuse removal. So I have a full team of different departments that's working with the National Department of Water and Sanitation, the South African National Defense Force, and the National Department of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs. They are working with the provincial government in that area. But we also have other problems. We have a water problem in Hammanskraal, which is a well-reported story. Again, there we are working with the National Department of Water and Sanitation, because the people of Hammanskraal have been complaining bitterly about the fact that the water they are drinking is not clean. Again, because the infrastructure that the city is not servicing, the infrastructure that is supposed to help ensure that there's clean water in the area.
Premier, another thing that came from political leaders yesterday, and you also touched on it in your speech, was the issue of Bosasa, the business of the province with Bosasa, and that you'd look into it. Take us through that as well. Yes,
what I have done so far is to ask the Gauteng government has done something very unique. We have brought civil society activists who are involved in the anti-corruption campaign. We have brought them into a panel and said to them, please work with us. You must be our watchdog. Work with the Gauteng provincial government to ensure that everywhere where there's corruption, we are able to deal with it decisively. You become our eyes and ears. So this panel has been doing great work. They are focusing on how to ensure that business, we don't have unethical business practices in this province. They've been engaging a lot of professional bodies, trade unions, businesses, civil servants themselves. They've been engaging with them. So they have also advised us when there was a problem with KPMG and McKinsey and them. I asked them to advise us on what decision will be an appropriate decision based on the allegations that those global firms were facing. I am doing the same, that given the allegations coming out of the Zondo Commission, which are serious, those allegations are very serious, I've asked them, look at any business, And I don't want to conclude that there is business or there is no business between the provincial government. I said to them, look at any business that any department of the provincial government may have done with Bosasa, and advise us accordingly if that such business was done on an ethical basis or not, and what we need to do. So that's my approach. I don't want to shoot from the hip. We have a body, the Ethics Advisory Council in our province, made up of very eminent individuals. As I say, anti-corruption activists are gathered there. They will advise me about what to do with Bosasa, but they first have to find out what contracts are there. Is there any contract between any of our departments or any entity that is linked to Bosasa? At this stage, I will wait for them to give me that advice. They must review any of those contracts if they are there, and then advise us accordingly, and we will take action. Taking action is something we do without fear or favor.
Briefly, Premier, as we wrap up, we're out of time. What would you say are the 3 major milestones that you've achieved over the past 5 years?
Well, firstly, let me say that I think we have creating 469,000 jobs in an economy that has gone through such a major problem since 2015, since December 2015. Our economy has gone through major problems that had attracted also the credit rating agencies. So that's a big milestone, because this is 469,000 jobs in 5 years. So if the situation was better, we could have doubled the number of jobs. Jobs are an important issue, but bringing the township economy for us, people in the townships are what makes Gauteng. It's the pulse of this province. What makes this province what it is. The majority of the people live in the townships. You leave them out, you are out of the economy, you are building no economy at all. So we have now brought them in. And then lastly, I think we have done extremely well in education. That's our source of pride. We'll continue to invest hugely in education. So this administration would point to those as the most important achievements, and bringing in this job creation and endeavor, bringing in more young people into the economy and firing them up and giving them hope and getting them excited again, and what we call the Gauteng spirit. So you have got people in the townships, you've got young people who say, this is a place of opportunity for us. So we too want to go out there and do things for ourselves. But government must come in there and assist. And of course, I will also say that I think we have built a track record of clean government. The Auditor General has given us a thumbs up. We are a province, just last year, we are the only province that got 100% unqualified audit outcomes from the Auditor General. So we are serious about governing in a way that is ethical and dealing with corruption.
Thank you so much, Premier. Premier of Gauteng, David Makhura, many thanks to him for joining us.